How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing a video called Regular Things That Are Legal in the United Kingdom. So I'm guessing they're probably going to be talking about guns, because I do know that they don't have guns there. But other than that, I can't really think of anything. So let's check it out. This is by the Infographics Show, so make sure you check out their page and subscribe to them if you enjoyed today's content. Let's do it.
The United Kingdom, once it was the greatest superpower in human history, as well as a place where you had to pay fees to have facial hair, and where handling fish suspiciously is still a criminal offense. These are regular things that are illegal in the UK, not practicing archery. Everyone has different hobbies and interests, but up until 1960, it was actually illegal to not practice archery in England. This law may no longer be around, but it's without a doubt one of the strangest laws ever enforced. But
Why?
why was England so hell-bent on forcing all adult males to practice archery? Were they putting together the biggest Robin Hood cosplay in history? Not quite. It actually has a lot more to do with the French. Well, to be honest, with the rest of Europe. See, for a long time, England's favorite hobby in the world was to fight literally everybody. Though its feud with the French has lasted so long that this 140-so-year break in the bickering and fighting is more of a pause. In past days, few archers were as feared as English longbowmen, who combined great accuracy with incredible power. These massive bows could deliver arrows hundreds of yards, and were powerful enough to pierce even steel armor breastplates. As an added bonus, longbows were extremely cheap and quick to manufacture. While each sword or shield cost a significant sum and days of labor to make, a good longbow took a fraction of the cost and the time. That meant the English could outfit many longbowmen, a handy thing when you're constantly at war. It was thus required that the English men regularly practice with the longbow.
And it would be so nice because it's something lightweight, so it's not gonna weigh you down. Like that's pretty smart.
As any one of them could be conscripted at the drop of a hat. For a time, accidentally killing someone with a longbow was also not punishable by the law. All this went away relatively recently, when the Unlawful Games Act of 1541 was replaced with the Betting and Gaming Act of 1960, using your phone to pay at a drive-thru. Modern technology has created an absolute wonder in your pocket, a device capable of looking up any information you could ever desire and letting you speak in real time with any human being on the face of the earth who also has a phone. But perhaps one of the most convenient uses of a smartphone is the ability to pay for everything from online purchases with a swipe to stuff in the real world with just a tap. Even before the pandemic, many businesses were adding contactless pads for payment, and now they're all the rage. You simply tap your phone to the pad and presto, your payment is complete. But pull that stunt at a drive-thru in the UK and you'll be facing a fine of £200 or $59.17 fish and chips.
Wow.
Why? Because the UK takes a pretty stiff stance on using your phone while driving. And unless you shut down your engine or engage your parking brake, quickly tapping a phone for a payment at a drive-thru window before grabbing your food still counts as using your phone while operating a motor vehicle. If the bobbies catch you doing it, you can expect not just the aforementioned fine, but 6 points on your license.
So every time you roll up to a drive-thru, you have to completely turn off your ignition to pay. Is that what I'm hearing?
No getting drunk at the pub. Shortly after the invention of alcohol,
That's the point.
mankind invented the pub, a place to go and consume said alcohol with little to no judgment. Pubs are great local watering holes where you can catch up with your friends, your community, and catch up on all the gossip. Just don't go thinking you can get drunk at one, because it's 100% illegal to get drunk in England at the place designed for you to get drunk. Per the Metropolitan Act of 1839, it is illegal for the keeper of a public house to permit drunkenness on premises. So every time you push past getting tipsy, you're basically breaking the law. And so is the pub owner and bartenders. In the US, many places have policies that forbid their bartenders or waitstaff from serving more alcohol to someone who is clearly drunk. But the UK codified this into law with the Licensing Act of 2003. So next time you're out for a bender, make sure you keep a sharp eye out for the fuzz, or you might end up getting sober inside a jail cell.
Yeah, that's no fun. That is no fun, guys.
Handing fish suspiciously. We've all been there. You're walking down the street when suddenly you spot a guy coming your way. In his hands is a large bass, and he's holding it in a most suspicious manner. Is it a weapon of some kind?
How is that suspicious?
Is the fish stolen? Is it even a real fish at all? You may never find out, but make the move in England and you can rest easy that nobody will ever handle fish suspiciously around you ever again, because it's illegal.
You know, and I don't have that problem here either, so...
What in the world does this law refer to exactly? You'd think it might have to do with sushi, perhaps. After all, is there anything more suspicious than supermarket or gas station sushi? But no, this law heralds back to the Salmon Act of 1986, when salmon attempted to overthrow the throne and take control of Britain for themselves. Well, not really, but that would at least be a good explanation for this weird law.
I guess.
Instead, the act was instituted to try and clamp down on illegal fishing, poaching, and shady trading of fresh fish. With fish stocks declining around the world, illegal fishing was hurting the very populations that the British people depend on for their beloved fish and chips.
Okay.
And nobody, we mean nobody, messes with Britain's fish and chips. Hitler tried once. Look what happened to him. The Salmon Act of 1986 punishes anyone receiving or disposing of salmon in an illegal manner, but the act has been expanded on to include other fish such as trout, eels, lampreys, and smelt.
That is so weird. And smell, I don't like it.
We had no idea lampreys were even edible, but we're fully behind any regulations that seek to protect wildlife populations from exploitation and overfishing. If you live in Britain or plan on visiting, make sure that when you buy fish at the supermarket, you don't handle it suspiciously.
Is that person petting that guy's fish? I don't know what's going on here.
And you should stay on the right side of the law with this one. No police or military costumes. In the US, a large network of volunteers works to identify and publicly out individuals impersonating police or military personnel. Called Stolen Valor, the effort has been highly successful in identifying people who may have tricked even friends and family with false accounts of service, often
Wow.
accompanied with a hefty amount of fake military medals.
Yeah, but then, I mean, what do you got to show for that?
However, it's not illegal to dress like a police or military member to an extent, as long as you're not actively trying to fool people into thinking you are one. Hence why the two professions remain the costume of choice for Halloween parties and Chippendale shows. But in the UK, they take things a bit more seriously. According to the Seamen's and Soldiers False Characters Act of 1906 and the Police Act of 1996, it's illegal to pretend to be part of the military or police. We're not really sure just how far the UK government is willing to go to punish you if you showed up to a party as a sexy policeman, but given the punishments for handling fish suspiciously and getting drunk in a pub, we're not sure we want to push it either. Carrying a plank of wood. Maybe you're helping a friend with a home renovation. Maybe you're just putting up a new bookshelf. Either way, you're walking down the sidewalk with a large plank of wood when suddenly the Rozzers are slapping handcuffs on you and dragging you to jail. You just made a big mistake, because in London it's illegal to carry a plank of wood on the sidewalk. According to Section 54 of the Metropolitan Police Act, you cannot carry a plank of wood along the sidewalk unless you just recently unloaded it from a van. So, if you're bringing a spare plank of wood to your neighbor or perhaps bringing it out to throw it in the bin, congratulations, because you just earned yourself a whopping 500-pound fine, or 151.52 fish and chips.
What?
Why does London take such harsh stance on builders? We're not sure, but perhaps there was a spree of plank-related crime that we're unaware of. Either way, if you plan on building some new bookshelves in your London apartment, maybe try dragging your new shelf instead of carrying it. That shouldn't technically be illegal. Just forget about wheels, ladders, or poles, which are also illegal to carry down a sidewalk unless you've just unloaded them from a van. Which kind of makes us think that at some point London was plagued by a circus-related crime spree.
Oh my gosh.
Knocking and running. It's a childhood game as old as doors. A group of children gather together, egging on one member to run up to the nearest house and give the door a good, loud knock. Then the group flees, giggling all the way until they stop and the next member builds up the courage to knock and run. If you're ever on the receiving end, it's mildly to moderately annoying. But as a child, it's undeniably great fun.
It is.
Try it in England, however, and you'll face another fine of 151.52 fish and chips, or 500 pounds. The Metropolitan Police Act of 1839 makes the activity of willfully and wantonly disturbing any inhabitant without lawful excuse a criminal offense, and if caught, you'll basically be giving up your allowance for the next few years. No lingering after a funeral. Funerals are somber, very sad affairs. Nobody wants to attend one, but unless you cut all ties with family and friends, you'll eventually have to. As a time-honored tradition, funerals allow loved ones to say goodbye to the deceased and can help process the grief of tragic loss. Typically, there's a small graveside ceremony with a religious figure of some sort, some words of comfort, and the group might recollect some fond memories of the deceased. Then you have one final chance to say your goodbyes before the coffin is lowered into the grave and the dirt is piled atop it. It's a very difficult affair for most people, and the finality of it all can leave people processing it for days or weeks to come. But you don't dare linger around the gravesite after the ceremony is officially done in England. or you'll be answering to the bill as they come to give you a stiff fine. Some of the laws in this episode obviously are rarely, if ever, enforced, but sadly this one was in fact enforced in 2015 when a man was fined 160 pounds, 48.49 fish and chips, for lingering an extra 20 minutes at his wife's.
So these fish and chips, you're gonna have to tell me about it because I'm guessing they're pretty good.
Grave. No doubt caught up in the grief of his loss, he was still forced to pay the fine for a law meant to allow the gravediggers to work undisturbed, which was actually a valid concern for a Victorian-age England that was rife with grave robbers looking to sell your deceased friends and family to unscrupulous doctors that wanted to practice their surgical arts. Maybe though this is a law that can be officially retired, but for now make sure you head home briskly after the casket's in the ground, or Britain will fine you for being sad. No cutting in line. Nobody likes a line cutter. It's basically one of the first things you learn not to do in preschool. Sadly, there's still plenty of people who are fully functional adults and still think the world revolves around them, and cutting in line is no big deal. Try that in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland though, and you'll get slapped with a monstrous 1,000-pound fine, 303.03 fish and chips. To be fair, the law applies to cutting in line at the subway, or tube as it's called across the pond. And for once, this is a law we are fully behind and would love to see implemented at basically anywhere, perhaps especially at concerts and nightclubs where jumping in line is habitual to the point of criminality. Honking your horn. Who hasn't honked their horn in anger after being cut off or because the guy in front of you is too busy texting to see that green light? Try that in jolly old England and the plod will have something to say about it. The law expressly forbids individuals from sounding their horn aggressively after being annoyed or frustrated. It's also illegal to honk a horn while the vehicle is stationary or in a built-up area between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m. Violate this law and you'll face a fine of 50 all the way to 1,000 pounds, 15.15 to 303.03 fish and chips. Now check out insane laws that still exist in the US, or click this other video instead before we fine you.
I don't know. Insane laws in the US. I know we got a lot of them, but I don't know if they are quite like that. Anyway, yeah, that was a very interesting list. For sure. If you guys would like me to react to like the regular things that are illegal in America, let me know down in the comments below. I will have all of the infographic show information down in the description as well for you guys. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys.